Joining us now, NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney and NBC News senior White House correspondent Kelly O'Donnell, MSNBC legal correspondent Lisa Rubin, former U.S. Attorney Barbara McQuade, and New York Times reporter Jeremy Peters. Ken, we'll start off with you. What do these documents released yesterday prove or not when it comes to what we know and still don't know about Abrego Garcia's criminal history?
Well, they don't say anything about a criminal history, Allie. They do speak to the fact that he may have been detained in a murder investigation some period back, although he disputes that. And they show that his wife filed a civil restraining order in connection with domestic violence allegations and then later dropped that case. But what these documents do is shed light on why the Prince George's County Gang Unit and the Department of Homeland Security believed that he is an MS-13 gang member. And they lay out a series of pieces of evidence. One, that he was arrested at a Home Depot alongside a confirmed gang member with a violent record. Two, that he was wearing a Chicago Bulls hat and a hoodie that had insignia on it that the Prince George's County Police believed was associated with a gang. And so it sort of fills out the picture a little bit more about why not only an immigration judge, but an appeal in the immigration system determined that there was sufficient evidence that he was an MS-13 gang member. Now, obviously, he disputes that. His lawyers dispute that. And immigration courts are not criminal courts. There was no proof beyond a reasonable doubt here. But the question of whether he's deportable is not a question of whether he's a criminal. Those are two separate things. If the Department of Homeland Security determined that he was an MS-13 gang member and he was in the country illegally, then he was deportable. Whether he should be in a prison in El Salvador is another question here. But these documents do shed light on why DHS believes he is an MS-13 gang member.
And Kelly, there had been many questions about why it took so long for DOJ and DHS to release these documents. Ultimately, they did it last night. But why now?
Well, it's an interesting question because clearly these documents were in the possession, were a part of the kind of planning of this case, and presumably could have been released earlier. It may be that they felt enough public pressure because of the interest in this case, the questions being raised, the way that Abrego Garcia and his family, the advocates for him, had positioned him. They do a lot of scrutiny here from the White House about Maryland man when they want to argue that he is unlawfully formally a resident of Maryland and won't come back. So perhaps the timing was to counter some of that, to try to recapture a bit of the narrative. But we don't have a specific answer as to why they did not produce that information immediately, because certainly those questions were asked every day by reporters and others involved to look for more information about why he had been swept up in this and what was the basis, especially because of the rhetoric from the administration where they called him not only a member of MS-13, but a foreign terrorist because of the designation the administration has put on MS-13. They accused him of being involved in human trafficking, a lot of things that are very potent words in the political climate, and they didn't have specific information to back that up. So it may have been a response to the public pressure. It certainly fills in some of the picture, and people will take from that what they want to make of his status. And certainly there is the ongoing pressure from people like Senator Van Hollen, Democrat of Maryland, who are trying to keep this in the public eye. The issue of his story is one part of it. Another issue is certainly, is the administration following the law? Are they complying with orders from the court? Are they acting in the way that the president said they would, which would be to remove criminals that are here unlawfully, as opposed to those undocumented immigrants who may be living in communities, may have mixed status families, American children, American spouses, as Abrego Garcia does, and they would be a lower priority to deal with from the immigration side.
Yeah, Kelly setting the scene for us, Lisa, from a court of public opinion perspective, but leaving us off on the legal foot, because what is the impact of these documents in the instance of bolstering the government's argument within the courts, or does it hurt their claims more than help them?
You know, Allie, these documents are largely irrelevant to the legal issues in the case right now, which is focused on, did the government abide by Judge Zinnes's order? And specifically, what have they done to facilitate Abrego Garcia's release from that El Salvadoran prison? Whether or not he is a criminal is completely irrelevant to the legal inquiry that's now going on. I should also note that of these documents, and there are only 13 pages, only 6 of them were new. 2 of them were cover letters, and the others were both the determination of the initial immigration court and then the Board of Immigration Appeals, which is that administrative body to which immigration decisions are appealed before they can go then to a federal appeals court. That's how immigration law works in this country. Both of those decisions were already in the court record in the Abrego Garcia case. They were there for the looking for anybody who wanted to look, and they lay out what the government's argument was on the basis of those Prince George's County reports about Abrego Garcia's initial arrest and detention. And so not only are these of no moment legally, but they have been in the public domain for some time. This was a public relations ploy, not a part of a legal argument, Ali.